the agriculture. So personally, I think 83 billion for agriculture and rural development to the federal government is small. And then you now bear in mind that this 83 billion is supposed to reach out to 36 states. That's why we must restructure Nigeria. It's going to reach out to 36 states. Out of these 36 states, 19 is in the north. And out of these 19, 400 and something local government is in the north. And the south has 17 states and about 350 something local government areas. I do not think that if you are calling for agriculture and rural development and you have not made the states are not conducive. As we speak today, investors are not coming into Nigeria. Investors are pulling out of Nigeria. So there is no investment that is going to come in to any effective extent that will help agriculture and rural development. The Niger Delta Development Commission, 81 billion naira. Go on. Let us go to the Northeast. Let us look for the Northeast Development Commission. Okay. The Northeast Development Commission is 38 billion. And then the Niger Delta Development Commission is, let's go back. Okay. Is 81 billion. Now, we also have to bear in mind that the Niger Delta Development Commission is being owed. Right now, I don't have the figures offhand, but the Niger Delta Development Commission is being owed billions, if not trillions of naira over the years that the Niger Delta Development Commission has been on ground. So let us look, go up, yeah. Okay, wait. Let us look at, keep going. Okay, I think that is, all right. So that is the end. So now, the question we need to ask as Niger Delta people, one, I didn't see anything on the amnesty program. I don't know. There is nothing, unless we have not seen it, because what we're looking at, what I'm looking at now is what is online. What is online is what I'm looking at. So if the amnesty budget, if the amnesty program is not on the budget, I wonder why the amnesty program is not on the budget. I think I don't know if calls are coming in yet. So I think I will open up the line, because I'm sure that people have something to say. 0818 8588 155 0809 289 5620. So we'll take, we've had so many missed calls. Okay, we'll take the calls as they come in now. All right. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning to you, the Amazon.
Good morning to you too.
My name is Location.
Okay. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Right to the point. Right to the point.
Which point again? They say what you have on your hand, you don't need a mirror. That's it. Now, don't forget that the Niger Delta Development Commission covers almost 9 states. It's not just
yeah.
It's not just the 6 states
it's not just the 6 Niger Delta states, yes.
So you have to look at the budget
Yes.
for that commission, vis-a-vis that of the North, is it Northeast Development also?
Yes.
Commission.
Yes.
And then how many states that commission covers? I'm talking about the Northeast Development Commission.
Yes.
And they said the amnesty program is not just in this budget. Actually, the one I've seen also, I didn't see, I've not seen it yet.
Yes.
It might be hidden somewhere, maybe it might be under the presidency or what have you.
Yeah.
You know, because recently we heard people put the NDDC under the Ministry of Niger Delta. They want to lump it together. They came out from the presidency. The thing is this, is it sometimes when we come out to talk, it's as though we have the comedians to say diarrhea of the mouth. But no, we're seeing these things. For as long as we continue to remain, or the structure remains the way it is, we continue to have issues like this. Because you cannot tell me that the Niger Delta state contributes almost, let's say, 95% of
the budget.
money to be spent, or let's say the budget, and yet we get what they think is good for us, and that's the one they share to give us. And then you expect that the government will skyrocket. Of course not. Like you said, the politicians should wake up. There's no two ways about it, because we will continue to talk here, even if we go out of physical protest in the National Assembly. What are our legislators doing? I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When it comes to the issue of Niger Delta, why can't the legislators from this side of the divide decide to boycott sitting of the National Assembly just to press on their demand? Because the truth is, if you look at the political structure the way it is today, they have an advantage over us, numerical, I mean.
Yes.
In terms of states, local governments, and also members in the House, sorry, the National Assembly. Why not we protest? Because like they say, if majority will have their way, minority will have their say. And there is every possibility that when you have your say, it can be incorporated in the way of the majority. So as far as I'm concerned, they should look at this issue because it's annoying. Yesterday I heard my president, the vice president, telling us, justifying why they have to increase VAT. That proceeds will be pushed to states that are not vulnerable. I ask a question. Those states that don't allow certain items in their states, and yet it allows there, and then you get VAT from them here, and then you use it in those states. Is it not robbing Peter?
To people.
Or robbing the man of God to Adamu and Karuba?
And Okereke and Wankwo and Tunde and so that everybody is mentioned.
But I think it's time for our leaders to sit up.
Yeah.
And then see how we can rejig the constitution. Because for as long as the constitution remains,
I agree. I agree. I agree. And thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Now, hello. Okay. Now, very quickly also, I need to, because I'm getting messages and people are asking me to comment on other things. All right. Now, very rightly, the issue of toll gate. The issue of toll gate, I mean, you're borrowing money from China, perhaps. You want to build toll gates that you destroyed in some parts of Nigeria. You want to rebuild it again. It costs so much to build it. It costs more to destroy them. Then you're not going to rebuild them again. And then you're going to charge people. What are you charging them for? Is it the potholes that they are going to go through? Is it just a question of building toll gates? And then have you fixed the road? So where are the people driving from? So I think the issue of toll gate is actually dead on arrival as far as I am concerned. And the issue of borrowing, this government has borrowed so much money on their own heads, not on our heads. They've borrowed so much money, and it is still the oil of the Niger Delta that is used as collateral that they are borrowing. We need to begin to tell our representatives, governors, lawmakers, and people like that, that these are our issues. And again, I have to keep saying that anybody, any governor of Niger Delta that says anything that is in the favor of Niger Delta people, I will support that governor, because nobody is a saint. People, everybody have their faults here and there. But when you are saying something that is in the collective good of everybody, I will support that that situation and that circumstances. Now, when we find ourselves in this situation where we're confronted on so many fronts. I was watching a video where Chinese people are learning Igbo. And I saw this video where a Chinese man was being interviewed, and he says his name is Solomon Okereke or something like that. Something from Enugu. He's speaking Igbo in China, and people are laughing. It's not funny, because when a Chinese man has taken his time to learn Igbo, he's planning to come and take over Igbo land. In case people are not okay, I've just received a message that says federal government says they won't refund states who rehabilitate the dilapidated roads in their various states. Now you can imagine, this is federal government road. 1 minute, we the people of the state are saying the governor should fix these roads. At least let us have good roads. Even if it's federal government road, fix it. You have money, fix it. They fix it, and federal government says it is not going to pay them back. Now, that just being an ordinary person that is not a politician, when the federal government says something like that, the federal government means that it does not want us to have good roads. That's why it is not fixing it. And when the governors use our money to fix the road, the federal government says it will not refund the road, the money. So the federal government is telling you, not even indirectly, the federal government is telling you directly that I want you not to have good road. I want the East-West road to remain the way it is. That's what the federal government is saying. But there is no road like the roads we endure in East-West road, in going to Lagos from the Niger Delta, going to Enugu from Port Harcourt, going to Owerri from Port Harcourt. There is no such road in the north. And the money they've used to build those roads in the north is the money that is coming from the Niger Delta. And then federal government will say that they will not refund money. So why should the governors use my money to build federal government road that they will not refund? So we must restructure this country, and we must use what we have in, we must use this, what we have to build our roads, to build infrastructure, and to develop ourselves. It is just sheer wickedness, in my opinion, that the federal government, who is taking 100% of what is in the Niger Delta, giving us 13%, and saying that they have something they call federal government road, federal university, federal hospital, and yet, if the state government gets involved, they say they won't refund. My people, is that not wickedness? Does that not mean... Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kingsley from Chansamadi.
Okay, go ahead, Kingsley.
I'm always reiterating on what I always...
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
No matter what we do, they will not take us for granted. They will do everything in their favor with the money that was brought from our own land to develop their land. They don't care about us.
I agree. But, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, even our governors and our representatives, I'm not sure why they are not powerful enough. Maybe they have been, or they have compromised one way or the other. Because the only way you cannot speak against somebody who is doing evil is because you have taken something from the person. You understand? You have compromised your integrity. You cannot speak because they know where to hold you. So I'm thinking that is where our governors and our representatives have gotten it wrong. Even if they have compromised in the past, they still have a way to do it good again, because you cannot always try to save yourself where other people are dying.
I see what, yeah.
Now, they are planning Operation Python Dance and Crocodile Smile. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No, I've not heard that one yet, but it won't surprise me. Go ahead.
That is coming up soon. That the Nigerian Army are planning on that very soon. It's coming either this November or December. I don't know when, but I'm sure it's going to happen soon.
Yes.
And I was listening to hear about the operation whatever in the north and nothing.
Yeah.
It is only south and southeast.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why I told you that we are targeted.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I agree.
I don't know about the southwest. They are playing their own games on their own because they are not carrying us along.
No, I mean, Kingsley, let us not, I agree with you, my son. Let us not even think about anybody carrying anybody along. We should be looking at how we can work together first. But then I'm agreeing with you in every contribution. In your voice, I can almost hear, I mean, one is just tired, which is the point where I am. Because you see, when you're doing the type of work that I do, you get tired at a point, not tired to give up, but tired of waiting for the victims to catch up with you. Our people are victims, and our people are yet to catch up with some of us and the way that we think and the way that we see things and look at things, because that is the reality of where things are. How can federal government say that they will not refund money that state government has spent, that they should have spent? So it means that they want us not to have good roads. Now, the question you are now asking, which I say is something that makes you weak, is that how come if you, a young man, as you're sounding, can see this thing and make a decision for yourself? Because I know the decision that you have made. You don't have to say it on air. I know the decision you have made. Now, for you to make that decision, you ask yourself, why can't the politicians, the people that we have put in place to think this way for us, why can't they think it? The Constitution is the problem. The Constitution is written in such a way. Before you were born, after independence of Nigeria, the Cameroon was part of Nigeria before independence. But when we became independent, that part of Cameroon did not want to stay. They were more nearer Adamawa and Cross River. They didn't want to stay in the independent Nigeria. So there was a referendum, a plebiscite, and they went. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, the same Nigeria today and the constitution that we are operating today, the 1999, which really is a military decree, actually forbids, does not allow a referendum. So because it does not allow a referendum, officially, we are not allowed to ask our people, which is very critical, what do we want? You know, so those things are in the Constitution. So those things we need to push our representatives, our governors. Our governors, up to a point, is not really a compromise or a sellout. Up to a point, the Constitution is binding them. Why? Because they swore on the Constitution on the 29th of May when they took office to uphold this very Constitution that is binding their hands. So the people that can propagate the change of Constitution is you and I. It's the people. of the Niger Delta region. Now, the Sultan of Sokoto is talking about, what do you call it? The population being too high. Where is the population too high? The population is too high in the north. Okay, now, who told them that their population is too high? Did we undergo a census that we're coming to the point that Nigeria is 200 million people? Who counted Nigerians and decided that they've not held a census for over 10 years in Nigeria? But they just wake up in the morning and say the population is 200 million. And they will claim that out of that 200 million, 150 is in the north, and that the remaining 30 million is in Yoruba land and Igbo land and the rest of the Niger Delta. They make this decision. So who told them that we're 200 million people? We need to have a census in this country to be able to know how many people are Igbo people are how many people. Ijaw people, how many? Ikwere people, how many? When I was in school and they did a census in the just before independence, they asked you your religion, they asked you your tribe. But today, these same people are the people that changed it because it suited them. It suited them because they say, don't ask somebody of his tribe, ask him of his state. But then they now say that every Nigerian can live in all the states. I agree, it's okay. But because you live in Imo State, if you're not an Imo person, doesn't make you an Imo person. Because you live in River State, which you have a right to live, if you're not from any of the indigenous River State nationalities, you're not a River State indigene. But they take that away. They say, don't say you're a Christian. Don't say you are Ijaw. Don't say you're Ikwere. Don't say you're Egi. So if you say don't say you're an Egi man, how does the Egi man know how many he is? How many women are in Egi? How many people are under 18? You know, this is a purposeful thing. And the governors and our representatives and we the people, if we don't work together, no matter how much of failures we think our politicians are, that is what we have today. You and I cannot go to National Assembly and tell our representative, go home, I'm taking over. Because that's not how it is done. You know, so we need to work with them. And I keep saying this over and over again. We are not enemies of politicians. Politicians are not our enemies. We must work together. One thing is very important, especially in the Niger Delta and in River State. The issue of unity. The issue of unity. Because look, we don't have rights to own our resources. And so if we have an opportunity to purchase something that has to do with oil and gas. Okay, for instance, 1 minute the federal government is saying it wants to sell off all the refineries. Now, if a federal government, NNPC, decides to sell off refineries, should the people of River State and the governor of River State fold their hands and watch one rich man from the southwest or not something to come and buy River State, the refinery in River State because he has money? Or should the River State government get up and say, let us buy this refinery because it is in River State? So these are the things we must consider. If we want to survive, these are the things we must consider. NAFCON, if it is going up for sale, shouldn't River State government buy it for River State government? You know, so these are the things. And so when we fight ourselves in River State or in Niger Delta under this discord that politicians and political parties and cabals have thrown up into our midst, we're being very careless. We're being very, very careless. So it is, anyway, I think I stayed with you just simply because the issue you raised covered all these areas. Thank you very much.
Okay, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, sir, there's one more thing.
No. You can do that next week.
Okay, man.
Let me take another. Is there another call? Oh, we could have allowed it. Okay. The reality is that we need to get an understanding. Our people don't understand that it is not about political party. It is not about political party. That somebody like Akpabio today is the minister of the Ministry of Niger Delta. Quite honestly, if we know what we are doing as Niger Delta people, and if Akpabio knows what he's doing as a Niger Delta person, whether he is the minister of whatever in whatever party, should not be the issue. It should not be the issue at all. What should be the issue is that he, more than anybody else, should know, even if maybe he forgot momentarily, he should know that he's from the Niger Delta at the end of the day, no matter how many cloth they wrap around his head. He's from the Niger Delta, and his culture remains a Niger Delta culture. And he remains a man that must work in the interest of the Niger Delta people. And the Niger Delta people must make sure that they make these demands on our people that are there. So the fact that we have this budget, 2020 budget, that the Niger Delta has contributed so much to, and what is coming to us through the Niger Delta ministry, through what is supposed to come down through NDDC or maybe to the youths or whatever. Personally, I've said it over and over again. You see this Niger Delta Development Commission, you see this amnesty, you see the Ministry of Niger Delta. From 1998-99, when the agitation, I was on ground, I was part of all these agitations that brought about the Ministry of Niger Delta. I was on ground of the amnesty and of the NDDC. Nobody is going to educate me on it. And it has failed in the sense that it has not achieved the things that it is supposed to achieve. And all of it, 100%, is not just our fault alone. It is also the fault of a cabal that has held the Niger Delta to ransom. To ransom in the sense that Niger Delta has been kidnapped. The resources of the Niger Delta has been kidnapped. And we are trying to do the best that we can, and it is not good enough. The best that we think we're doing is not good enough. The Ministry of Niger Delta, if it was really meant for us, should not be in Abuja. It should be in Niger Delta. The amnesty program, nobody has any business in being part of the Niger Delta, the amnesty program. If you're not from the Niger Delta, you have no business. How many people are rushing to the Northeast Development Commission to get contracts? But go to NDDC. This morning now, when we finish, just go to NDDC. See the people you see there. Go to Ministry of Niger Delta in Abuja. See the people you will see there. Go to Amnesty, the Amnesty program. The people today who are getting the jobs are not Niger Delta people. The people who are getting the scholarship are not Niger Delta people. And yet it is Niger Delta people that are running the program. And yet we're told that because of federal character, other people have to work in it. Because it is a civil service job, other people have to work in it. If civil servants must work in it, they must be civil servants from Niger Delta region. They must be. They cannot be civil. You cannot use a program, an agency that you say you created for Niger Delta people. You cannot use it to do federal character and say that is for Niger Delta people. So for me alone, let me have my oil and my gas. Keep your ministry of Niger Delta. Keep your amnesty program. Keep your NDDC. Take it. We don't want it. Allow us access. Allow us to own and use and utilize and pay tax to federal government. The only solution to where we are today is that the government of Nigeria must be restructured to the way that Rivers State is solely responsible for what happens in Rivers State: security, development, education, healthcare, and all of that, and pay tax to federal government. Any other thing is not going to work and is not going to be acceptable. And if we think that we can continue the way that we are without restructuring this country, then the people have fooled us. I am not in that foolishness. I refuse to be fooled. I will not be fooled. On that note, it is 11 o'clock in the studio. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Ankyo Breaks, and I look forward to interacting next week. Thank you.